Hello and Happy New Year, Bookish Dragons. It's Stephanie from Ravens and Blots, and today I'm going to be talking about my 2016 Bookish Goals. I don't have very many that are specific simply because that's not how my brain works. I kind of need generalized ideas of what I want to do, because if I get too specific, I tend to feel like I'm back in school, and I don't like that. No, we don't do that. We don't do that here. Ain't nobody got time for that. So the two specific goals I have, I'm going to tell you first, and then I'm just going to go into my general goals for the new year. Okay? Okay, let's begin. My first goal is to finish all the series that I started in 2015. I started like 6 series, guys, and I didn't finish any of them at all. Most of them, and the bad thing is most of them were trilogies, and I'm like on the third, like I'm waiting for the third book, like I'm needing to read the third book. I fail at booking. Let's just put it that way. I don't know why. I apparently have an aversion to ending trilogies, because of the 6 series that I started, 4 of them are trilogies, and all 4 of them I'm literally sitting waiting to start the third book. Like, I have the third book in my possession, and I'm still waiting to start it. Whoops. My second specific goal is to read at least 2 to 3 graphic novels this year. I've never actually read any graphic novels, but I love comic books, like huge comic book geek here. And I don't know why I've never read any graphic novels, especially not the ones in the past 2 to 3 years that have come out. And I just want to rectify that this year. I really want to get into graphic novels. I've heard that like Super Mutant Magic Academy and Blankets are 2 of the most spectacular ones ever. And I think those will probably be the 2 that once my book buying ban is over with, I'm going to go ahead and do, because I really feel like those 2, everybody's talked really well recommendations about them. So I want to start those. So those are my 2 specific goals. My next ones are, well, general and probably long in length, knowing me. Yay! Alright, so my next goal is to get my lovely TBR down to a manageable number. What I mean by manageable number is, I mean that it has to be to at least 30 books. Right now I'm sitting at 100 and some odd numbers. That's really high. It's over 100. And that freaks me out. It stresses me out, actually. It doesn't freak me out. It stresses me out because I have so many books on my TBR. So I want to get it down, but I don't want to get it down to 0 because that stresses me out too, because then I don't have any new books. Oh no! No new books. What would I do? So I want to get it down to 30. I'm actually kind of challenging myself to do the book buying ban that some of BookTube is doing for the month of January. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing the book buying ban for January and February. With the exception of the fact that I did buy Passenger this month, and it's fantastic so far. Oh! And also there's a book in February, 2 books in February that I want to get. So maybe I'll just do like I can only buy those 2 books sort of thing. But after that, then I'm definitely going to be going back to the read 5, buy 1 book buying ban. Because I do want to be picky about what books I'm bringing into my reading space. And the main reason I want to be picky about this is because last year I had a lot of books that were not the best that I bought, and I was just not thrilled with them. Which leads me into my next goal, and I give myself hereby permission to DNF books without guilt. Yes, I do. It's very nice. And the reason I say this is because I always want to find out what happens in the book. I don't really like not finishing a book. The only one I DNF'd this last year was Armada by Ernest Cline, because it was just so boring and I just couldn't get into it. And I was like, no, I'm not reading this book. I'm not spending time on mediocre books. And that's my philosophy this year, is to avoid mediocre books. And so therefore, I am going to be allowing myself, if I start a book and I'm really not into it, I don't like the characters, I don't like the plot, I'm going to allow myself the privilege to DNF books. Because I'm going to avoid mediocre books this year, guys. I want to be able to read books that I really like. And that leads me into my next goal, which is to give myself permission to read what I want when I want. I really hate TBR goals. Like, I hate TBR lists. That's just one of my things that I don't like to do. And if you've seen any of my videos at all in the past, you know that I do these TBR lists and then I don't actually get to any of the books that are on the list because I don't like being nailed down to a certain schedule. So for me, I just really want to be able to read what I want this year. I want to have that permission from myself to read whatever book I have on my shelf, whether it's a reread or not. I want to be able to read that without any guilt. Because last year I reread some books, but the ones I wanted to reread, I would start rereading them and I'm like, man, I've got so many books on my TBR. I really should be working on that. And I like rereading my books. I really like going back into those worlds that I loved. And so this year I'm giving myself permission to read whatever I want, whether it's a reread or not. I'm not going to be guilted into reading to the numbers. And that's like my main thing, is that I don't want to just finish books to finish books. I want to be able to look back on 2016 and go, man, I read a lot of really fantastic books. Like, I didn't have any really bad books at all this year. In 2015, I can't do that because 2015, I had a lot of really mediocre books. And again, this is going to be my goal. This is going to be my mantra for the year. I'm avoiding mediocre books, guys. That's my mantra. That's why I'm going to start everything if I'm avoiding mediocre books. Yes. Good goal. My next goal is, actually, I want to get into the adult coloring book craze. I know it's not actually like a bookish goal, but everybody seems to be like into the coloring, and I loved coloring as a kid. And I'm like, I want to get into this. I really want to get and do one of these adult coloring books and just start coloring. So that's going to be one of my goals this year, is to allow myself to get into the bookish coloring and be okay with that. My next goal is that I want to start blogging a little bit more. I used to blog all the time, and 2015 I really took a nosedive off of writing, and that's just, it's not the best, and I'm not very thrilled with that. I have a bookish blog, and I think I posted 2 posts the entire year. So I really want to get back into writing a blog post every week or every 4 days or something like that. Like, I just want to be able to get back into it because it's phenomenal, and I love writing, and I love talking about books, and I also like doing reviews during written because it's a little bit easier, I think, than not writing. Speaking them like I am right now. And then my next goal is to read more widely. What I mean by that is to not always go for the same genre that I go for, or the same sort of author that I always seem to go for, but to go and experience new ones. There are a lot of people out there that have been recommending books. Peruse Project, Reagan from Peruse Project, Kaz from Little Book Owl, Kat from Katie Tastic, Christina from Pull and Banana Books, and let's see, I have a couple others. Ariel from Ariel Bassett. Like, they all recommend really awesome books, and I want to start once a month basically corralling and getting one book that I probably would have never gotten had somebody not recommended it to me, and reading that one book. I also want to read more classics. That's kind of specific, but the reason for that is because I haven't really read many classics. I've read the ones that you had to read in school, but even those I didn't really read. I mean, I didn't read, I did read Frankenstein. I have to say, I read Frankenstein, and I read The Portrait of Dorian Gray, but I really didn't read much Mark Twain or Charles Dickens or any of the Bronte sisters. I just read Jane Eyre last year, and I really hated it, so I probably won't read much Bronte. But, you know, just some more of those classics that everybody's kind of knows about but never reads because they're like 900 pages in old-timey English. I kind of want to read a couple of those. I definitely want to read Frankenstein and The Portrait of Dorian Gray again, because I really did enjoy those when I read them, even though they were creepy. But I want to just kind of expand my horizons, and I want to read more books that I'm not as familiar with, basically. And then my very last bookish goal is I want to read 120 books for 2016. My goal last year was 115, and I read 42. Well, I read 142. I read 146, but Goodreads didn't count it because 4 of them were rereads from that same year. So it was 142 technically, but 146 that I read. And I know I can do it. I want to be able to read that. So those are all my bookish goals. Yeah, I think I can do this, guys. So what are your guys' bookish goals? Go ahead and leave me some comments down below of what yours are, or any bookish recommendations that you have, because again, like I said, I'm going to be reading widely this year, and I want to expand my horizons of what books I like and going outside of fantasy, which is my favorite genre of all time. So apart from that, I don't know. I mean, I might have some more bookish goals come, probably May or June, and be like, oh man, I missed this one. But these are my widespread goals. Yeah. I should be able to do this. No problem. So anyway, guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up right down there. Don't forget to subscribe. And then you can also follow me on any of my social media sites. I'm on Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm also going to, once I get that blog back up, have a link down below for the blog. But all those links for my social media are down below. And I hope you guys have an amazing day and keep reading, you awesome dragons, you. Bye!